team ready to play? Of course they are. First game of the year, South Bend, Indiana, Notre Dame, NBC, capacity crowd, top 10 football team. If you're not ready to play, you're in the wrong place.
Vance, are you on Team Turtleneck now?
Nah, you know what? I've always liked the turtleneck myself. You know, the collar down shirt, you know, that's for old school. I might be a little bit old, but I like the collar neck shirt. It's kind of, you put a sports coat on and it's ready to either go to work or go out on not on the town. I mean, so I'm ready to roll.
Do you ever remember starting this many, and depending on this many true freshmen in a season opener before?
You know, I never thought about it until I read the article the other day about we playing a lot of freshmen. You know, Johnny Johnson came and spoke to our team this year, and the 1977 team I think had somewhere around 9 to 10 sophomores starting. And that's a young football team, and they had a great season. And I'm not comparing this team to that team, but you have to start somewhere. You have to start playing from somewhere. And I look at it from the standpoint, you get out and play in front of a capacity crowd, national televised game. By the time we hit conference play, they're going to be ready to play because you can't play in a better atmosphere than what we're going to play in Saturday night.
Will they be ready to play Saturday?
They're going to be ready to play. I can promise you that. Somebody's going to get hit on defense. That's all I know. If they don't do that, they're going to be on the sideline like I always say. I like great Gatorade. They're going to be standing next to me doing what I'm doing, watching the game.
Why didn't Ridgeway first team?
You know, Ridgeway, he started off two-day camp. He was banged up a little bit, and we're bringing him back slowly. And it gives us depth at that position with he and Puna both playing that position. Let's say you have a 80 plays a game, they get 40 snaps. We have two first-teamers playing in the fourth quarter, so we feel pretty good about that situation right now.
Is it a deal where you want to bring Ridgeway slow because it's not worth risking losing him the whole season?
No, it has nothing to do with that. Again, Ridgeway, you know, he was a little banged up coming into two-day camp. Puna was here all spring. Ridgeway played inside and outside the nose. So we're moving guys around to give us in the fourth quarter if the game's close, you want it to be fresh. And that gives us a lot of depth. So Ridgeway and Puna, you could say both of them are starters. The thing about it, people look at a book and say, well, this guy's first team, why is this guy's second team? They both starters. It's just that simple. Somebody starts a game, somebody's going to finish the game. And the guy who's playing the best is the guy who's going to finish the game. That's the player that's going to give you the best chance of winning. You know, people worry about, well, who's starting that? People who just don't know. They don't know, they don't know. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Is that a similar situation as at the cornerback spot opposite Duke with Bonnie and the young guys? Or is he firmly the number one?
You know, at this point in time, you know, John is a starting cornerback for us, and Duke's going to start at nickelback. Antoine Davis is going to be at the other corner because they're going to come out in 11 personnel, so we'll be a nickel. And we have some young, talented kids. You look at Devontae Davis, had an outstanding two-day camp. Chris Boyd, I think, has had a really good camp. You know, Holton Hill was nicked up a little bit early, so he was a little bit behind. Those three freshmen, they're going to play for us this year. P.J. Locke, he's playing nickelback and safety. He's going to play sometime this year. All those guys on special teams. And, you know, you find depth with youth sometimes. They have no idea what's going on. They have no fear. They're out there just having fun. And they bring that attitude to the defense, and I'm excited to see those guys get out there and perform for us this Saturday.
Man, in terms of the health of the defense, I know Coach Strong said Santos won't play. How healthy are you guys, and is there anybody that you're waiting to see how they do today and tomorrow? And I guess just kind of gauge overall health of the defense.
You know, Santos is the only guy that's out. Otherwise, not we're going to probably be as healthy as we're going to be the entire year because the season is getting started. So we have some depth right now. We're too deep across the board. Some of the guys haven't really played in games yet, but they're still too deep, so I feel pretty good about those guys at this time.
Malik Zaire just had the one start, I believe, so do you feel like he's a guy that can be rattled a little bit?
Well, I'm just hoping I don't get rattled. I'm not worried about Malik. He has to play. I'm on the sideline, can't do anything about it. You know, but Malik is surrounded by a lot of good football players. He's not out there by himself. He's a freshman, and he's going to do some freshman things. And I understand that. It's the other guys, the leadership from Peter Jenkins. He needs to step up and be a leader this year. I mean, we have some guys out there. Shiro is another guy. He needs to step up. Tank Jackson, the senior, needs to step up. I'm counting on those guys to go out there and get the job done. Malik, okay, you're a freshman. Go out and play, have fun. Don't worry about the what ifs. We're going to rest him. We're going to rotate guys in for him. And so at the end of the day, it's the other guys I'm more concerned about. He's a freshman. He's going to do freshman things.
You had a lot of expectations on Malik Jefferson. How's he handling that middle linebacker role as a freshman, and how tough is that position to man on your first year in campus?
Well, the expectation's not coming from me personally, not from Coach BJ, not from Coach Strong. The expectation's coming from all the people on the outside. Again, he's a freshman, and we don't know what he can do at this time. I mean, out of high school, he played outside linebacker. He's playing inside linebacker right now. It's brand new to him. So my expectations for him, if he just gets lined up, we just won a battle. After that, I can't tell you what's going to happen. If he runs to the ball and hit, in great shape. If he jogs to the ball and don't hit, he's on the sideline just like anybody else. So those are my expectations for him. Just get lined up, play hard and fast, let the chips fall where they may. But again, I'm counting on the other guys to step up and do their part first.
Vance, do you think the staff likes having a lot of time to prepare for basically what's like opening with a bowl game in this situation? Do you like having all that prep time to this offseason to figure this team out?
Well, yeah, in all season, as you get ready for the upcoming season, you prepare for 3 games. And everyone across the country and every place I've always been, you prepare for 3 games. And Notre Dame is no doubt a great game, a great opponent. You know, they second all-time winning record. And so you're going to spend a little bit more time on your first game as we do anybody else. They have a veteran team. We have a young team. And so you have time to prepare, but the biggest thing you don't want to do is put all your eggs in one basket. You know, you have to still work on Rice. You have to still look at Cal because why? Very explosive offensive teams. So we've done the same thing we've done for the previous 30 years of my coaching career.
Coach, the majority of guys in this room are older, so we understand Notre Dame history. When we talk to your players, a lot of these guys didn't grow up knowing about the history of Notre Dame and all the things that entails. Some guys never even saw Rudy. So, does it help to have guys like that who are somewhat oblivious to that Notre Dame and what that history is all about?
You know, what's great about this age of young people, if it's past 5 years, they don't know. They know whatever happened in the previous, and maybe 5 years might be too many. It might just be 3 years. I think from whether you go from East Coast, West Coast, in the middle, our kids, they don't know our history, whether it's American history, world history, Texas history, and even football. And that's how society is today. And it's sad that we, at this point in time in our career, in our lifetime, for the use of America, don't know anything about our history. They know about today. You know, I was talking to a person just now. He said he was with his son listening to something on a radio station. And it's a song that was back in the 70s. And his son said, "It's a brand new song, Dad." He said, "No, I heard this in 1970 something." "No, Dad, it's brand new." And so the dad started singing the song. The kid looked at him like, "What?" They changed the lyrics, but it's the same old song. And that's where our society is today. It's about living in the present. They don't understand what the past is all about. So from the standpoint of the question you just asked, it does help out because they don't know the history of Notre Dame or the history of the University of Texas, of what both universities have accomplished. You know, some of these guys don't know who Earl Campbell is. Let's be for real. And that's just where we are in this day and age, and I think it's sad.
There's one exception to that. Dylan Haynes said one of his heroes is Freddie Steinmark. Did you see any Steinmark in Haynes?
I certainly hope so. You know, but we have one of those playing for us right now. If he can be half the player that he was, he's going to have an outstanding year. He could be an all-conference player because that means he has the heart, the desire, the leadership to be a great player, and no matter what happens, he will get the job done. So if he has that in him, he's going to be a special player for us this season.
How many times have you coached at Notre Dame Stadium?
This only been my second time. I think the first time that I was there at the University of Michigan in 1998 after we went 12-0 and we were number 1 in the country. We went up to South Bend and we lost. And Coach Strong was on that staff at that time. It was a game that we should have won, but we didn't play very well, and therefore the better team won that day.
Can this be a good defense? Do you expect it to be a good defense this year or at some point?
At some point, yes, I do. I mean, I look at this defense, and we lost 6 really good football players, and everybody knows who Malcolm Brown, is. But Jordan Hicks was a glue. I mean, he made the checks for the front. I mean, I go back, look at the West Virginia game, he was making checks for the secondary. I mean, he was just that special of a person. Another coach on the field. And right now, we're younger linebacker. Peter Jenkins and Tim Cole, they need to take that role. I mean, I don't expect for Ed Freeman and Malik Jefferson to be that guy. They're young. They're just trying to get lined up. But I do expect for the other guys, the leaders, the seniors, the juniors, to take that leadership role, to get us lined up, to make those checks, to put us in the right position, to give us a chance to have success.
Is it too much to ask for some of these players to be special players like Quandre and Malcolm Brown or
All those guys you just mentioned were experienced players. That's where a Tank Jackson comes into play. That's where Hassan Ridgeway has to come into the play. That's where, even though Haynes is only going to be his second year playing, he has to be that guy because he started, 9 games last year. So the guys who played in the system a year ago, those are the guys that we have high expectations for. And don't get me wrong, we have expectations for our freshmen, but they still freshmen. And so practice is 10 times harder than the game could ever be. The pressure you put on the players in practice, when they get out in the game, they should say, my coach is off my back. I can't hear a word he's saying. I'm just going out and have some fun and ball. And Earl Bruce taught me that years ago. You should make practice so hard sometimes. When you get to the game, it's like, thank you. Let's go out and have some fun and play. That's what we do in practice. We put the pressure on the guys in practice. Come game time, let's run here to have some fun, see what happens.
you have any prediction on the record this year?
You know what? I'm not a prediction. I mean, you put it in my ear last year and earlier this season. The only thing I can predict is this, is that we're going to play hard, we're going to play fast, we're going to play physical. And at the end of this year, all anybody going to say is that the University of Texas on offense, defense, and special teams, they left everything out on the football field. And that's what we're going to be this season.
Was there any presentation in the locker room about Templin getting put on scholarship?
We did that, after practice yesterday, and I tell you what, the players, when they jumped up on him, they lifted him up on their shoulders. I mean, he's a young man that comes to work every single day. He gives us everything that he has, and that's why, Coach Strong did what he did. You want to reward guys who this is really important to them, and they give you everything that they have. And that's what Ty is all about.
You know how many defensive players you expect to play Saturday? Do you have it in your mind that you're going to play 20 or 30 or?
If I had to make a guess, and that's all it would be, probably 20 players. It's in this day and age, it's hard to say we have just 12 players that's going to play. If you look across this country, because of the style of offense, the up-tempo, they're averaging somewhere between 75 and 85 plays a game, you need to have two groups of defensive linemen. And a lot of times your defenses, they do most of the special teams, therefore you need to rush your linebackers. Because we're young in the secondary, we're still rotating guys in, trying to get that final fit. Who is going to be the right guys in the fourth quarter when the game is on the line? It's not always where you start. It's how you finish. And getting to the fourth quarter, we might have 2 freshman corners out there in the fourth quarter. It's hard to say right now. We might have 1 or 2 freshmen playing a defensive line. It might be 2 freshmen at linebackers. It's who has a hot hand in the fourth quarter. Those are guys going to be there doing that game.
Vance, can we expect to see you? We expect to see you Saturday night after the game, or are you gonna?
No, you're not going to see me Saturday night. I don't even know why you asked that question. You already know that's not going to happen. So I'm telling you right now, you forget about it. There are no interviews from Vance after the game. I'm going and go on the bus, get to the airplane. We get back here between 2:30 and 3:30, go home, get 3 hours of sleep, come back in here, grade the video, then break down my next opponent. So if you expect to see Vance after the game, me and Houdini, we family. I just went invisible on you, cats. So you can have that.
Coach, it seemed like last year every opposing quarterback you faced reminded you of a Heisman guy or
Beautiful.
NFL guy. What about Malik Zaire? Who does he remind you of?
Russell Wilson. People say, well, he not experienced. His first start was a bowl game versus LSU. He rushed for 96 yards versus a really good football team. When he dropped back to throw the football, he found the receivers. He only ran when he had to. but he's a guy that's has the running ability of a running back. You know, Russell Wilson is that way right now. He's a guy that can beat you with his feet. He can beat you with his arm. I think he's somewhere with 21 out of 35 last year for 247 yards. I mean, he has a great arm. He can throw the deep ball. And he can get himself out of trouble with his feet. So we're very concerned about Zaire. We need to contain him. You know, for us to win this football game, it starts with, number one, control on line of scrimmage, but containing Zaire. If we can't contain him, it's going to be hard to beat this football team because I think he's that good of a quarterback.
He's a lefty. Does that pose any issues at all to a defense, or does it not matter what?
It doesn't matter, left hand, right hand. Yeah, a lot of times, a left-handed quarterback, you might find out they try to do more things to fit him as far as you running nakeds and bootlegs to bring him back to his left, his throwing hand, than to his right because he feels more comfortable doing those type of things. But breaking down Notre Dame's offense, they might be 50-50 running nakeds left or right. So you think about those things and you try to force a quarterback to do things that he does not like. Try to force him to his right, so now he can't go to his left. Don't let him step up. You know, push the pocket and again force him back to his right. If you want to pressure from his throwing hand, or get him doing what? Going away from his throwing hand. So it's things you try to do to affect what he likes to do best.
Vance, what's your biggest concern about your guys?
The biggest concern about our guys, with a defensive coach, is always execution. You know, first time out the boat, guys getting lined up, not worried about what's in the stands, and that's part of our job as coaches. You know, we've had a great camp the last 2 weeks we've been spending on Notre Dame. The guys have a good idea what they need to do to go out there and execute. Now, to go out there and do it without the coaches being out there, you have this formation, you have this split, you have this down and distance. These are the things you should be preparing for. What do you see right now? And that's what we do when watching video. We talk about those things. We're on the football field. We talk about those things. Now, it's the real test. You're on your own. There's no help. There's no tutors. You're out there by yourself. Now you have to do it by yourself. And that's the biggest concern. I think any coach across this country, we all have the same concerns, you know, for the first game of the year with, again, a young football team. That's
You've been in that atmosphere at Notre Dame,
Chris,
touchdown,
last
Jesus,
question.
the whole deal. Were you all just trying to demystify that by showing them the film clips? And how do you not let it get too big?
I've been around some very talented football players, and you know what great players do when the game starts? You're so focused, you don't see the stands. You don't see the fans. You don't see the atmosphere. All you see is the opponent across from you. And that's what we have to get to at the University of Texas. That no matter where you go, you don't feel anything but the opponent across the line of scrimmage. And you want to go and get after that person. And I go back with the guys I played with when the game started. They never heard the band. They never heard anybody cheering, booing. They never heard a coach. They were well prepared, well focused. And all they knew was one thing: the guy in front of me, you have a problem because you showed up today. And that's what we have to get to. Are we there at this point in time? I don't think so. But we're going to find out as this season goes on. We're going to find out at the opening kickoff. And I'm a defensive coach, and of course I hope we kick off first, put the defense out there, and see what happens. And you talk to any defensive coach across this country, guess who you want on the football field first? You want your defense out there first. Yeah, and I'm no different. You know, so I want to see what happens and see what these guys are going to do. And like I say, if you don't know what's going to happen, we just drop 8. Might drop 9, might drop 10 rush for 'em. Can't tell you what we're going to do, but I'm dropping a whole lot of guys. I'm playing close to the vest and playing it safe. I got my life vest on. I got a parachute on. I'm ready for it all. I'm good. You guys have a great day.